Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day. I am Mohd Fakhri bin Mohd Fauzi from PISMP TESL 1 June 2017 intake, and today I will be presenting about my research entitled Investigating Pronunciation Problems of English Words Among TESL Teacher Trainees at IPGKDRI. Starting off with the background of the study, TESL teacher trainees in IPG have to enroll in English phonetics and phonology course. This is to expose them to the sound structures of the English language and also to equip them before starting their profession as English teachers. ESL speakers in Malaysia should also use received pronunciation, or simply known as RP, as a model in pronouncing English words. Zuraida Muhammad Dawn in 2016 mentioned that the RP was introduced to all the countries of the Commonwealth as a standard pronunciation. Proceeding to the statement of the problem, firstly, the study of phonetics and phonology is crucial for TESL teacher trainees, and pronunciation is an essential part of the subject. Secondly, a number of primary ESL teachers in Malaysia did not acquire adequate knowledge of phonemic awareness that is essential to teach young ESL learners to read correctly. This is based on a study by Ramaner, Xiaowi, Retinasamy, Mieseng, and Pendian in 2020. And lastly, the problem of mispronunciation is common among teacher trainees in pre-service institutions. The purpose of the study, it is a small group of TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI was found to lack a correct pronunciation based on a list of English words. Thus, it seemed necessary to identify which of the phonemic sounds were found problematic and also the factors that the TESL teacher trainees had in common, which led to the errors of pronouncing English words. This leads to the research objectives. The first one being to identify the problematic phonemes or the sounds pronounced by TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI, and also to investigate the factors affecting pronunciation problems among TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI. In relation to the objectives, this research required an in-depth understanding of the following questions. So there are two research questions. The first one, what were the problematic phonemes pronounced by TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI? Second, what were the factors affecting pronunciation problems among TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI? The significance of the research, this research was designed so that the similar concern that other TESL teacher trainees may face could be tackled through a list of possible suggested solutions. TESL teacher trainees can also benefit from this study to identify and improve the pronunciation of English words as a preparation before being posted as English teachers in schools. There were several past researches that were related to this particular research. The first one by Rivas, Garcia, and Mejia in 2013, which involved Spanish ESL speakers and also about the influence of first language. It was found that English phoneme sh was mispronounced as ch instead because there were no sound of sh in Spanish, and also the phoneme of was absent in the first language, and it was confused with the sound of d. Secondly, a study by Begum and Hook in 2016 also about the influence of the first language, which in this case is Bengali. It showed about the interchange between long and short vowel sounds, because there were no long vowels in Bengali. So the sounds of E or U were confused with E or U. And finally, there was also a study by Zos in 2015 which proved the relation of mispronunciation and motivation, self-confidence, and anxiety. So the research design, this research was designed as a qualitative study, which Creswell in 2018 said that a qualitative study is done for exploring and understanding the meaning individuals or groups ascribe to a social or human problem, which in this study focuses on the problem of mispronunciation of English words by TESL teacher trainees. So the population, a total number of 287 TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI, and for the samples, it was done through purposeful sampling, whereby 2 TESL teacher trainees of PISMP June 2019 intake were chosen. This is because they were just freshly completed the course TSLB 3043 English Phonetics and Phonology, and also only 2 of these participants agreed to participate, and they were reachable and they could provide the data needed for this research, and they were given pseudonyms of participant 1 and participant 2 in this study. So to collect the data, there were 2 instruments used in the study. The first one is a pronunciation test. A text of Aesop's fable entitled The North Wind and the Sun was used in the reading aloud, and the participants were asked to audio record, and Detailing in 2006 mentioned that the text of The North Wind and the Sun was widely used for phonetic research, as its compact text allows pronunciation comparisons. The second data collection instrument is interview protocols, whereby related questions regarding the possible factors affecting pronunciation problems were used as a reference for the researcher to in the interview. Next, for the research procedures, there were 3 stages or phases of this research. The first one being preliminary phase, which involved identification of reading aloud text and development of research instruments, being interview protocols. Next, the second stage is data collection, which involved pronunciation tests through audio recording, and also a semi-structured interview. And finally, this research involved data analysis and discussion, whereby document analysis and identification of pronunciation errors through audio recording of reading aloud tests, and also analysis of interview to determine factors of pronunciation problems. So the data was collected. The first one, it was collected through a pronunciation test, whereby the participants were given a text of The North Wind and the Sun. The participants were asked to read the text aloud while recording their voices. They were then required to upload their audio recordings of the text reading aloud to the researcher via WhatsApp. The next procedure was interview, a semi-structured interview, which was done through Google Meet, and the session was recorded for transcription purposes. The researcher started off with an introduction, the interview objectives and the terms as stated in the interview protocols. And the semi-structured interview session comprised of 3 sections of questions that were designed to find out the problems affecting the participants' pronunciation problems. For the data analysis, the first one is document analysis. The researcher listened to the audio recordings repeatedly, and then the researcher transcribed pronunciation using International Phonetic Alphabet (IPA) phonetic symbols. Then the researcher compared the participants' IPA transcription of each word to the IPA transcription of the similar text in the RP. And finally, mispronounced phonemes were categorized into their respective types. The next procedure, the analysis of interview. The recordings of the interview were played and transcribed. Codes were extracted and analyzed based on the interview excerpts. And finally, sub-themes and main themes were generated to answer the second research question. So this is the conceptual framework, which shows that influence of first language as well as motivation, confidence and anxiety led to the pronunciation problems among TESL teacher trainees. Okay, so based on the data, it was found that the problematic phonemes pronounced by TESL teacher trainees of IPGKDRI were categorized into 6 types. The first one is affricate consonant, and then fricative consonants, plosive consonants, pure short vowels, pure long vowels, and diphthongs. So the specific sounds were as shown in the slide, on the slide. Next, the factors affecting pronunciation problems among TESL teacher trainees at IPGKDRI. There were 3. The first one is influence of first language. Second, motivation, self-confidence and anxiety, and finally the lack of exposure in ESL learning. So based on the data findings, the researcher had come up with a discussion. First, regarding the influence of first language, the fricative phonemes are not found in Malay language, and Malay language also does not include long vowels, and also Malay voiceless plosives are always unaspirated, which means there is no audible breath, unlike the ones in English language. Secondly, regarding motivation, self-confidence and anxiety, the participants mentioned that English phonetics and phonology was difficult and quite hard, and both participants said to be nervous and had doubts when speaking in English. Finally, regarding the lack of exposure in ESL learning, a participant pointed out that pronunciation is not given much attention at a primary level of ESL learning. So, in summary, this research had successfully achieved its research objectives, and the research questions were also answered accordingly through document analysis of pronunciation tests and analysis of semi-structured interview. And as for the recommendations, TESL teacher trainees should do self-assessments on English pronunciation regularly by referring to the IPA transcription of unfamiliar words, either through a dictionary or online reference. Secondly, primary English language teachers must include the teaching and learning of phonics in English lessons. Drilling, substitution, drilling, association of sounds with ideas, reference of phonemic chart, chaining, and minimal pairs are some of the examples that can be used by the teachers to teach phonics. And finally, the implications for IPG institution They need to conduct ongoing assessments on the effectiveness of the phonetics and phonology course. And for the primary language, English language teachers, they should be aware of their roles in teaching pronunciation to the pupils at a primary level. That is all from me. Thank you.